Hello, I'm Claudia Imhoff, and I'm at the Composite Software Data Virtualization Day 2012 in New York City. And with me is Peter Armstrong. Peter is the Vice President with Comcast, so welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It's nice to have you. You did a great presentation today, so I want to go over that a little bit. You talked about a business problem that Comcast was having, so why don't you describe what it was?
Sure. As you can imagine, at Comcast, we have a very complex environment. The business was grown over time through acquisition. So we're not a unified organization. We have multiple divisions. We have lots of functions. And we're spread out. We're not all in one location. So when a business partner came to us and said that they need access to a lot of data so that they can attack a problem, we immediately thought about the virtualization approach and the platform that we have with Composite. And the basic problem was we have technicians in the field that interact with our customers. And it's our first introduction to our customers. So that we recognized needed to be a good experience. And there were different approaches to take, and they just didn't know what was working. So they came to us and said, we need access to interactive voice response logs. We need access to customer care logs. We need access to what the customers are doing after they get the products deployed to them. We got to pull all this together so that we can deploy different tactics and analyze what the results are, adjust the tactics, and then hopefully, the theory was, there'd be a benefit to not only the customer, but also to Comcast as we learned about what our processes were and what worked and didn't work. So we undertook the project, and in a span of about 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, with one FTE, we stood up a proof of concept. And we reached out to the stakeholders of the key systems, because they're all owned by different individuals, and we came up with an agreement to plug into their system and source the data virtually. We worked on integrating the data together so that we could understand the data quality issues, where were there gaps, did we have to create keys or not, and presented a view back to our business partner. And the first thing they did was analyze. Okay, they didn't know what they needed to see yet, so they analyzed and they came up with their theories and how they were going to influence the tactics of the technicians. After that, they employed an approach of trials, where they'd identify control groups of customers and then trial groups, and they'd employ different scripts in those trials. And they'd send the technician on their way and say, go do your thing, but follow this script. And so they did that over a period of a few weeks. And as they went through it and we monitored the results, we were finding that we were getting improvements in the customer satisfaction scores. We were getting, it was tremendous. Well, and that's a big influence for the technicians. You know, they get compensated or bonus based upon how some of these scores work out. So they were very excited.
They're happy.
They were energized to change the way they work because they will ultimately see the benefit. The customers were happier because they didn't have to have a return visit. We cut down on our return visits to their house shortly after install. We call that our service on install rate. We also cut down on our rework rate, which is the multiple times that we redo the same thing. So all of those measures improved over this span of about 3 months. In addition, the business partner identified a cost savings, which was very important and surprising, frankly. They identified they saved in excess of $500,000 in support costs by employing these tactics, by reducing the calls or reducing the number of truck rolls or saving on redeploying equipment. All of that resulted in the savings. And then, because of that and the success of this pilot, they went national. So the whole program was turned into a formal approach, and they revised the way the technicians go in the field, and across the board now we're seeing improved customer satisfaction measures and reduced operating costs.
Well, it sounds like this has been a tremendous boost to Comcast. What do you see for the future?
Well, we want to continue to explore expanding our data virtualization platform. One of the areas that we're very much trying to get better at inside of Comcast is our competencies around agile analysis, agile and data modeling, getting more that quote-unquote data scientist role. And in order to do that, we need data. We need more data because they like consuming data.
They do.
We would love to hire the people, but if the data is not available, they're going to sit there twiddling their thumbs and get bored, and then we lose them. So we're going to look to continue to expand the network of data inside the virtualization layer. We're also going to look to expand into big data. So to date, we've plugged into traditional repositories or transactional systems. I want to plug into Hadoop clusters. That's what I want to do. And I want to make those event logs, which is just terabytes of event interactions that we store and archive, make that available to a really smart person to dive into and analyze patterns and come up with business use cases for leveraging that data. So we're going to look to do that. And then we're going to deploy a self-serve interface to the platform. And I'm very excited about that.
Oh, I think that's terrific. And it certainly does, that ability to even predict problems before they happen.
Absolutely.
To arm the company, we've got a problem brewing, we know about it.
Well, and the customer service issues within our industry are well documented. So the more that we can head that stuff off or predict it's going to happen and then deal with it, or at least tell the customer, hey, we know there's an issue, we're taking care of it, please be patient.
Yeah, boy, that's marvelous. All right, well, it sounds like you've got a very bright future. Again, this is Peter Armstrong with Comcast. I'm Claudia Imhoff at the Composite Software Data Virtualization Day 2012 in New York. That's it for me. Goodbye and good business.